It has been quite a year for me, to say the least. I started the year with around 1,000 subscribers and a channel that had not been uploaded to for about a year. And now I think we're gonna hit 10,000 subs by like the end of the week, maybe even by the end of the day. And I also have, what is it? 1.5 million views on the channel. Wild numbers. No, I actually, it's better if I don't think about how many people that is, and how many eyes, how many minds, and how many thoughts. Okay, I just checked. It's 1,829,500 views on the channel. And I don't really know why that happened. I think YouTube may have sort of spliced up the algorithm a bit at the beginning of the year, and it decided to bless me by making 2 of my old videos go viral. Let's say so that's an interesting experience, to say the least. Having your videos from 3 years earlier suddenly have everyone watching them and having their thoughts and their comments, which is great. But they're also commenting on things that I'm like, yeah, it's true. Why did I do that? I don't really have anything to say about that, because they're right. I definitely haven't always been perfect. Definitely made a lot of mistakes and a lot of areas for improvement, especially with the old videos. So that's basically what this video is about, because I haven't actually watched these videos since they were uploaded. So a lot of the time people are commenting on things and I can't quite remember what they're talking about. So I thought it would be nice to relive it all together. And you can kind of have an idea of what I was thinking, which was usually nothing at the time, because I don't really have many thoughts left. All the thoughts for about 2 months go into one video, and then there's not much left for anything else. First, we're going to start with the first time I went viral, and the biggest time I went viral so far, which was in January of this year with the boy in the striped pajamas. So basically what happened was, I hadn't uploaded for a year. I kind of wanted to start again, but I also had a lot going on, and I wasn't necessarily sure what I wanted to do with the channel, or what people would be interested in, what would be worth my time, because I don't really have a lot of it at the minute. But then that all changed at the beginning of this year, when suddenly my YouTube app started giving me lots of notifications for comments, and I thought, oh, maybe they had changed the way of doing the notifications, because I usually had that turned off. I don't really like being notified about comments just in my daily life. I prefer to just go and look at them all at once. I don't really need to have a sudden notification. It's not great for the anxiety. So I started getting loads of them all at once, and I was like, what's going on here? So I opened up the app for the first time in ages. It was going crazy. I couldn't quite believe it. But then, while I was happy that the video was getting attention, I also knew that there were some things in the video that are very cringe, and I'm not really looking forward to watching it. So please suffer through this with me and make it all worth it. I'm hoping this will be a cathartic experience for me, like ripping off the band-aid and closing this once and all in my mind, so I don't have to constantly be cringing at my past self. This video was made when I had about 500 subscribers. The videos usually got about 200 views. I remember in like the first couple of weeks of this video being uploaded, it got to 500 views. I thought it was popping off. I thought this was like the make or break moment. For the next 2 years almost, it got like pretty steady growth. It was like good in search. It sort of kept the channel ticking over. It got me over the 1,000 subscriber mark. I did not upload enough to get monetized. Actually, YouTube has most of the views from the channel, so don't think I'm like rolling in riches. I'm really not. So without further ado, let's watch everything historically wrong with the boy in the striped pajamas. I'm not looking forward to this, in case it's not evident. Oh dear, okay. Should we start with the thumbnail? I feel like this was when I had like more of a vision of the videos. I was like, I had my little marketing mind was beginning. It was a bit different from what I'd done before. Like, it's a lot more striking. I think that is why it like had sort of got to the top of the search. I think it was on about 50,000 views before it went viral. So it was like a pretty solid video, but I thought like that was just where it was going to end. But then you guys came in full force and here we are. Okay, I'm going to stop procrastinating. We need to actually watch the video. Oh God, okay. No. Oh, this is going to be so cringe. Okay.
Then you might have read The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas in lessons. If not, then the book and its film adaptation are so ubiquitously popular.
Oh, okay. I have this thing where I know the difference between adaptation and adaptation. It's just one of those words when I go to say it, I just get it wrong. So I'm sorry. It's just, I have to sort it out because that's going to be a frequent error on the channel if I'm talking about films and books.
80% of English and drama teachers reported that they use The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas in lessons. 49% of teachers use it in citizenship or PSHE, while 32% of history teachers do. And it makes sense that it's such a...
Okay. I feel like this study is pretty dated by this point. When was it released? Oh, I can't remember. It's definitely about 10 years old, this study. If not, it would be using data that's at least 10 years old. And then that kind of tracks, because the book came out in 2007, 2009, I'm going to say. And then it became super popular. It was like the book to use. And then the teachers went a bit crazy all using it. But now it's kind of dropped out. It's dropped out of fashion, basically. People have got other books they want to read instead. So yeah, a lot of people have been commenting, saying things like, oh, I didn't read this in school. And I'm like, well, it's not really used anymore. But then when I was making the video, I was looking at this study. Basically, my approach to videos was I was not very confident in my own opinions. So I would, and I still do this, I channel any opinion I might have through some sort of academic study. So if someone comes to criticize me, I'm just like, here's the study. It's not me who said that. It was somebody else who's very clever. So yeah, that's why I probably was kind of overstating how much it was used in schools and how much it's used now. But you know, the point still stands. If you read the book in school like 10 years ago and didn't really think about it much ever since, it's all kind of is informing your idea of the world and the history. It's still something worth talking about, even if it's not really a text that today's school kids are going to be reading. And yeah, I think that's okay. Because also most of the people who've been watching this video are probably would have been the age that would have read it when it was really popular. So useful in that way, even if it's not the way I expected. I kind of expected this to be more like kids who are reading it at school now or 3 years ago would, and wanted to know more, would then find the video and then put it into context. But that's not really what happened, because also, like, when you don't have many subscribers or views, it's kind of hard to gauge what the impact is going to be, like what effect your videos are going to have, how people are going to receive it. It's just all guesswork at that point because you don't have enough data. So that's why sometimes things just come across as a bit wonky because it's all new. Even if you've been making videos for a while, it's different to making videos when you know thousands of people are going to watch it. Ugh. Anyway, let's get back.
I have noticed already, but in this video...
Oh, no, it's this bit. Oh! Okay, this is the most cringe part of the video, and I'm so sorry. I was way too worried about the video being restricted. And there is context for this, because I had made a video the year before that had blown up, and it got 100,000 views, and then it got age restricted, and then that was it. It got no more views, and I was worried about that happening. Because also I was new and I hadn't made enough videos to have full experience about how everything works. And so I was being like way overly cautious about anything that might trigger like age restriction, any type of restriction that would stop the video getting to the audience I wanted, which would be people at school. learning about the book, or people who had read the book and just wanted to know a bit more. They had a bit of an inkling that it wasn't, there was some problems with it. And then also at this time, there were a lot of like history YouTubers who had sort of been very vocal that if they said anything about the Second World War, then it got restricted to heck. No one watched the video. It wasn't coming up in search, wasn't coming up in recommended. The video was just uploaded and then that was it. No one ever saw it again. And then like from my experience, like I'd seen that happen. Like when something gets age restricted, that's it. It goes from like getting hundreds of views a day to 0. So I was just really worried about that happening. And the way I approached it was not the way. All I wanted was for people to find the video and to find it useful. So that's why I did this, and I'm sorry. It was really cringe. I'm glad that part's over, but I know there's more cringe stuff to come. Oh, hello, John Boyne.
Irish writer John Boyne, very strange.
Oh, it's Baby Butterfield.
He digs a tunnel under the fence and dresses in the pajamas. Tragically, Bruno and Shmuel are ushered into the chambers.
Like, looking back on it, you can really see how unrealistic the whole scenario is. So part 1, the good. So I always try to be like fair and give the benefit of the doubt. Like I don't want people to think that I'm complaining too much. Like I'm just sitting here and being like, oh yeah, this is bad and that's bad. And it's like, oh, it's easy for me to say sat here having never published a book. I always want to include that caveat, even though I then go in and tear it apart. And also I feel like at this point I need to make a video about something I like. I haven't done one of them for a while. Okay, let's get on with it.
Historians love criticising historical fiction, but we also love a two-sided argument. So speaking as a pure literary critic or someone who analyses fiction, The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is a well-written book.
Why do I need to explain what a literary critic is?
And simple. It also makes the history more memorable when you become an active reader who pieces together the subtext about what's actually happening.
Okay, just one thing. So I do this thing where I put quotes on the screen without reading it out. The reason I do this is because if I start reading out quotes, it kind of clogs up the narration of the video. But then also I want to include like actual evidence and quotes from the historians and the literary scholars. So I just put it on the screen. So if people are interested, they can read it, but if you're not, then you don't have to. This way it kind of like slims down the video. Also, it's not like filling the video with like loads of key terms that I have to explain.
But even then, turning a specific atrocity from history into a universal message has its problems because it potentially distracts and confuses the history you're supposed to be talking about. And those are all the good points I could think about the book. I couldn't even make it to the Magic 3. So let's move on to all things that The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas gets wrong about it.
Oh dear. Okay, so I do talk about the symbolism and like how it functions. People sort of come at me saying that I don't understand it and I fundamentally misunderstood the book and I don't realise the symbolism and the message behind it. And I'm like, it was at the beginning of the video. So you just don't like what I said next, which is fine. But let's not say it's because I misunderstood it. And also remember, everything I say, because I was scared, comes from actual academics. So when I like make it look like a claim or my opinion, it's usually not. That's also what the quotes are for. It's sort of me being like my defense. I lacked more confidence at this time. Oh, this is also like one of the first times I was sort of diving in to this sort of literary criticism. It was sort of like something I'd been interested in when I was doing my degrees, but I wasn't didn't have full time to sort of commit to it. So anyway, so as soon as I sort of finished and I was allowed to do whatever I want, apparently that was forming a very strong interest in John Boyne's literary career and all the criticism around him. So make of that what you will about me. Okay, part 2, the bad. Yeah, we'll see what I have to say. I genuinely cannot remember what I said. Like, I know the general idea because I've read a lot. I've read a lot more since this video, so I know a lot more about the scholarship, but I can't quite remember what my exact understanding was at the time. Let's hope it was okay.
The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is full of blatant historical inaccuracies.
Oh dear.
Now, there is a scale of
strong.
historical inaccuracy in fiction, and not all of them are that important. For example, Bruno makes the swing from a tyre from a Jeep, but that wouldn't have been the type of vehicle they were using at the time.
Laying out the nitpicks first.
it's most likely Shmuel and his family would have been unalived immediately.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it just hits you. Okay, I need to explain myself. Back then, people were more cautious about shadow banning. People didn't quite understand what it meant. So saying that was not as cringe as it is now, because now people are tired of it, and you kind of know that usually it's not shadow banning. So when people talk about the algorithm is people, and if you're saying, oh, the algorithm isn't showing people my videos, it's probably more likely that people are not interested in that particular video. It's just random at some points, or that particular video doesn't have as much popular interest as another one. People are just tired, I think, of that word and just all the random other internet euphemisms that have appeared. So I'm sorry. Again, this is 3 years old now, the video. That was then, this is now, we move on. I was being overly cautious and it was actually just fine. Things are not actually that deep, and if you are going to be restricted, it's probably just something else that's going on. And also, I think YouTube has made quite a lot of good changes recently, making all the rules and guidelines a lot easier to understand. So that's good. It's like less of a mystery than it was, because it sometimes did feel like a mystery, what they wanted, what was allowed, what wasn't. So I'm glad that things are a lot more defined.
As for Bruno, he would have been very aware of the ideas and events at that time, learning about them and being exposed to propaganda. Forget roaming around the back garden. His idea of the next great adventure would have been marching off to the front lines.
I feel like that was not phrased in the right way. Bruno, like a child of that class, would not really be going to the front lines himself, because that is how you die. And his dad, who has the power of that situation, would prefer that not to happen. He would probably more likely want some sort of leadership position, which involves quite a different set of circumstances.
Well, they can't, except that they might have had a job at some point.
Why is that guy there? Like, why did they get a prisoner and then bring him to the commander's house? It doesn't make any sense. They knew that there was a very strong risk of terrible diseases like typhus. Why would they bring someone into that? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, all the times they had this hierarchy so that the high-ranking officials could sort of separate themselves from the prisoners in order to, selfishly not catch these diseases. So why is the guy in... honestly, I've forgotten that. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the reason it's there is so Bruno can learn what the prisoners are like without him actually having to go in and see the full reality. So that's why one of the prisoners is brought into his house, even though it doesn't make any sense.
Like, the perpetrators were actually the victims. The story forces us to feel empathy towards Bruno's dad for losing his son, when a few scenes earlier he was in a meeting about how to increase the scale of the camp's efficiency. Bruno's family mourn his loss, but no one is mourning Shmuel or anyone else who was in the chamber. If the story were to have a happier ending, then Bruno's parents would have saved him, but Shmuel still would not have survived. This implies that Bruno's loss is tragic because it wasn't supposed to happen, but for Shmuel it was simply inevitable. You are crying for Bruno and not so much for Shmuel.
So people have come at me for that point, and then I was sort of thinking like, oh gosh, did I express it really badly? Did I not say it in a clear enough way so people are getting the wrong end of the stick? But you know what? I stand by it. That was a pretty succinct explanation. If you're not getting that, I don't know what else to do, really. I guess you're just a John Boyne stan, and live your life. That's fine.
And some readers hear these criticisms. They say that's because it's fiction and not fact. I picked up a novel, not a history textbook, so get all these pesky facts out of my face. History isn't just about facts, dates, and names. It's also about the stories we tell each other about the past. And the emotional messages found in historical fiction are often overlooked because they aren't obvious facts, but they nonetheless have an impact on how people understand the history. And so when the boy in the striped pyjamas implies...
Okay, wow. I was saying stuff like that back then. That little section just sums up the whole channel, doesn't it? Also has become my academic research. This was sort of uploaded when I had gone through lockdown university. It sucked. I was like, not doing that again. So I knew I wanted to do a PhD, but I also wanted to wait until the world sort of sorted itself out a bit before applying. And then I knew I wanted to do something about historical fiction, the line between fiction, fact, fantasy, how it all meshes together. I kind of naively thought that that would be quite a simple thing to approach supervisors about, but what I learned is being that interdisciplinary minded kind of doesn't fit neatly into a administrative box for the universities. So it was a long ride to get my current PhD position, but all worth it in the end because it's ended up being the perfect one for me, and I'm really pleased with it. It's just really funny seeing sort of the beginning of that journey. Wow. I think I explained it better than I would now, because now I've read a lot more theory. So I don't think I could explain it that succinctly now, because I'd be like, oh, you have to know this, you have to know that. This is a crucial theory. Maybe we should learn from my past self about getting straight to the point. Part 3, the context. Okay, this could be interesting. Let's see how I explain things back then. I have a feeling I might cringe at the way I did it.
Explain in plain terms and as well as I can while avoiding the words.
Oh my gosh, not this again. So people have pointed out how ironic it is that I'm like, oh, John Boyne is like skirting around the topic rather than addressing it directly, as then I did that myself in the video, and all I could say is it's true. I'm sorry. I wish I hadn't. I wish I just made a normal video. Oh, it was not that deep, me from the past. It's fine when the video gets like a couple 10,000 views, but now it has 1 million. How many views does it have? Oh no. Nearly another 100,000 since it hit 1 million, great. When you got that many, it's like, oh, it just changes things. You come under a spotlight and your mistakes are not just like, oh, being a new YouTuber, like, oh, people are more supportive. They're like, you know what, well done for doing this research, putting it together. It's not easy. It changes things. And people come at you thinking that you're a proper YouTuber and you've got all this big budget and time behind you. And I'm like, I literally have nothing. I don't even really have time to making this video. But here we are.
The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas contributes to confusion around what exactly happened because it avoids tackling the issue head on. The book relies on the reader already.
As I was doing myself. Part 4, the author. John Boyne was, he was always gathering attention on Twitter at the time, and that attention inspired the video. And I kind of wanted to put that criticism into context, and that's where the video came from. So I promise I don't have a personal vendetta against John Boyne, and I really hope that he enjoys his royalties in Ireland and lives his best life. And I will still critique his books, although I don't think I'll read any more of them, so he's probably safe. It's not a personal vendetta then, is it?
John Boyne describes The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas as a fable, and this stance is part of the book's marketing. Fables are short stories usually featuring animal characters that symbolise things from our real world to convey a moral message for readers. Now, last time I checked, Bruno is a human child and not an animal, and the places he lives are based on real places. This isn't a fake. Okay, so people also came at me for implying that humans are not animals, and I'm like, guys, you know what I mean. Do I really have to explain the difference between an animal in a fable and a human being? But part of the responsibility of writing about a subject so serious is ensuring that the messages about the past conveyed in the book are in line with up-to-date studies about the subject. The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas isn't even facing the same direction as the latest historical thinking.
Oh, what a roast!
It's simple as John Boyne has recently deleted his Twitter for good, which honestly comes with...
That didn't last long.
The John Boyne approach. Take the experience of a whole group of people, do minimal research about them, and then actually write a story about people outside that experience and make them the sufferers of this situation instead.
Oh my gosh, I was so sassy! Wow! I wouldn't do that now. I feel I've become all serious now. Everything must be supported by facts. Gotta overthink every single word I say.
So he went to traditional media to complain about all those mean internet trolls from the museum? Yes, he got into...
I see why this blew up. Oh, so sassy.
The new dictators trying to define discourse, control literature, and instigate online attacks. I know that real writers write from the gut, regardless of the abuse that comes their way. And yeah, writers do write from the gut. It's how they achieve those emotional punches.
I'm just thinking, I think we understand how the sequel, what was it called again? All the Broken Things? Yeah, I think we understand how the sequel came to be. It kind of channels that energy he just gave there.
We were given a glimpse into Boyne's research process for his historical novels.
Oh no, we all know what's coming.
The user contained a list of materials from Breath of the Wild, a fantasy video game.
That was a big oof. An iconic moment on book Twitter. So iconic, it overlapped with game Reddit. This is what caused trouble on the internet before J.K. Rowling went full tough mode. I almost missed those days. I wish John Boyne did something entertaining like that again.
Types in a basic search into Google and lifts the first thing that comes up.
Well, we've all been there, come on.
Boyne's internet presence came a few months ago with the announcement of a sequel for The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas.
We know that book.
Obviously, that news brought a lot of takes from book Twitter, and people had no problem dragging up the annual John Boyne drama. And then he decided to leave.
Oh, it kind of was an annual drama.
Which was probably a good decision for everybody.
Yeah, that didn't last long, did it? He came back to Twitter, but I think it was post-Elon Twitter. I think it might have even been X at that point. A lot of people had also left by that point.
Doing themselves no favours with their Twitter addiction.
That's so true. I feel like some authors get so chronically online. And like, this goes from like all across the political spectrum. Get off Twitter is my advice to everyone.
First, that the book forces you to sympathise with Nazis instead of the actual victims. Second, that...
So, okay. I guess that was the one time I was like, I would allow myself to say potentially contentious word. That I don't know. My logic didn't make any sense.
When describing their knowledge of the history, some students described inmates as wearing pyjamas, which shows how the book's sanitized language
enters the popular lexicon.
One student even thought the events of the story's conclusion was the reason it ended in
yes, direct impact directly from the book into understanding.
Great holiday resort.
Oh yeah, this movie.
Evidence that the Jews actually volunteered to go. I
don't know if I made this clear, but like this was like a film that they distributed, I think, to sort of try to pretend that it was okay, but I don't think anyone believed it. But like this was like a real film, and then they just show it in the movie without context. It's fine, like if you know, but if you're just like a kid watching it without any context, you might get confused, or just anyone watching without context, you might get confused.
If you have to spend so much time and effort to unlearn what the Boy in the Striped Pyjamas is saying about this history, then why bother using it in the first place?
Okay, so I feel like that's the most important part of the video, and then I do sometimes wonder if I should have front-ended it with that rather than leaving it to the end, because I think a lot of people sort of dropped off by then and had sort of been like, oh, she's misunderstood the entire book, not getting to the part where I explain how it has directly affected this particular group of students in the study and their understanding.
When it comes to using fiction,
the Mimi recommendations.
It's good to read books that were written. Graphic novel Mouse has been a
classic. Not like we all read that at school.
Or Doll Pink Rabbit, which is
a lovely book.
Biographical children's novel.
I would also say The Devil's Arithmetic. That's a good one.
It isn't surprising.
Oh,
that
finally.
The Boy in the Striped Pyjamas appeared in the mid-2000s, and it just happened that John Boyne's was the one that took off.
Yeah.
Immediately after the second.
I also feel like there's an iconic book about, like, fiction book about the Holocaust every 10 years. So we had The Tattooist of the 2010s, and then before that we had Boy in the Striped Pyjamas. In the 90s was Schindler's List, and then various ones before that. So I'm wondering what might pop up next.
The sequel, All the Broken Places, is expected to drop later this year. There are indications that John Boyne has taken on board the criticism directed at his fiction, and we can only hope that his Twitter departure does him good. I'm apprehensive for the sequel, but I also have a small ray of hope that this time he might produce something a little more in line with current historical thinking.
I had so much hope, didn't I? So if you haven't watched the second video, basically what happens is John Boyne channels all of the criticism he has received for his books into his sequel, and kind of suggests that cancel culture is like the Nazis. It's very bizarre behaviour.
And I mean, if he doesn't, then it looks like this video will have to get a sequel too.
It did. It got a sequel. So that was not nearly as traumatic as I thought it was going to be. I was not looking forward to watching that at all. There's some areas for improvement I would definitely have made if I were doing it again today. But then also, I like some of the editing style. I liked the way I express things. Overall, I still don't know how this happened. Why does it have 1 million views and rising? That's insane, absurd. Should not know. 50,000 views was more than enough. I hope I can make new videos that are interesting and less cringe than that. Let's not be mean to my past self. I was trying hard and I had 500 subscribers at the time. I went viral for the boy in the striped pajamas in January. It was at that point that YouTube decided to make another video go viral. This one has 300,000 views, not 1 million. I'm considering over 100,000 as viral, considering I had 1,000 subscribers at the time. So this one is about horrible histories. So yeah, bit of a fun topic this time, and it's one of my pretty early video essays. One of my favourite comments from the Horrible Histories video was someone saying, "This reads like an EPQ project." And you know what? I wish it was an EPQ project because it's actually even worse. It was inspired by a university seminar. That's one way to make use of your degree and turn it into a video, and then 3 years later make a couple £100 off it. So basically I studied public history, which, if you don't know what that is, that's basically the theory of how public audiences understand the past and sort of practice of presenting history to public audiences. Sort of got two prongs to it. We had Greg Jenner come in a couple of times, who was the historical consultant for Horrible Histories, and now he's a very successful public historian. So having him come to the university was very exciting. Greg Jenner is like the Hank Green of the history world. So we were all very excited. And then his talk inspired me so much to make a video about it. I just felt like it was something that needed to exist on the internet. So that's what I did. So I had literally just moved into our new apartment and we had no furniture. None at all. So when we were watching this, just imagine young me editing this video while sat on the floor, because literally we had nothing. We had no, we didn't even have a bed. We had a mattress on the floor. It was a crazy time. Anyway, and then shortly after that we did the IKEA trip, and now we own furniture, which felt like a very grown-up thing at the time.
Edits, memes and fan pages.
Oh my gosh. Wait, I have to look at these memes. Honestly, yep. Matthew Bainton, nothing's changed. The student loan comes in. That one's so true. I love the stupid deaths. Oh, that was a good one.
But what I find is full of subversive stories about the
Look at
past
that graphic.
the very same people who put it into Sweet Timmy's hands. Welcome to...
Timmy was like a recurring imaginary character from my early videos. I feel like I had so many in-jokes that only I understood, and then like my two internet friends. Oh, look at that editing. Oh my gosh. Why did it just cut off?
The publisher wanted to make a historical joke book. Think like, how did Viking ships communicate? Using Norse code.
Oh my god, I had like so many edits. Now we just get like the most simple thing ever, because by the time I've got to the point where I've like filmed and recorded the video, don't have much mental capacity left for anything else. I used to spend loads of time like working on like 2 seconds. Probably too much time, because I'm not very good at editing. Should we bring that back? But I also don't have time. Like it's actually really bad. Like I feel guilty for sleeping sometimes.
He said there was a flaw in Scholastic's plan, however, being that he didn't know anything about history. They said not to worry.
It's almost like hiring historians to work on historical media productions actually makes the thing better. Oh, wow. Oh, I'm so sassy. I've worked in these spaces long enough that now I'm just jaded. Before I just look from the outside and see the problems and be sassy, now I just look from the inside, see the problems, and I'm depressed.
Those songs are lodged into our collective memories. The Monarch song is basically the alphabet song for school history. And Charles II, anyone?
My name is Charles II. I love the
iconic.
love me so much that they restored the English monarchy.
So what is it that appeals, especially the first series of the show, to the rudimentary humour of most 7-year-olds? Toilets, bodily functions, random deaths. Oh look, now it's all three. Someone randomly died on the toilet while sorting out their bodily functions. Only the highest quality humour over here on CBBC. Richard Bradley, the programme's executive producer, says, "We've realised that when children go around stately homes, all they ever want to know is about how the people went to..."
Okay. Also, we have to have some context. So, Timmy was also represented by the chimney sweep child from Horrible Histories. So, like, this coming into the Horrible Histories video is like an ultimate crossover. Maybe we should bring back Timmy. Maybe we should bring back Timmy.
So rather than wasting young viewers' precious time talking about trivial matters like a succession crisis or civil wars, Horrible Histories gets on with what we really want.
Oh no.
A sketch about Martin Luther writing to everyone with updates about his bowel movements.
I know some people can find my obsession with the poo-poops a little bit weird, but I have no doubt that they will enjoy reading about my body bombs as much as I enjoy writing about them, no?
Accurate footage of me sending work to my supervisors or uploading YouTube videos. Back then, I could remember all the Horrible Histories sketches, and I just knew which ones to include. I feel like they've fallen out my brain a bit now. Maybe we should rewatch.
Parents and teachers are too focused on the boring bits of history like dates and the decisions of rulers. Horrible Histories will give readers the interesting details that they actually want to know about.
I feel like I didn't make it clear enough that that's the perspective Horrible Histories is showing. It's not my opinion. That's like how it positions itself to the young readers.
While the book's narrator is a mischievous friend, they're the kind of friend who never does their homework and never behaves.
I've all known one of those.
Also knows the exact amount of time you'd have before burning to death if you ever landed on Venus.
I don't preach at church.
It was so intense.
Listen to me. I said, you'll never guess what I've just found out about this, and my excitement transfers to them.
Oh, that's cute.
The truth about his humour comes back around to corrupt war generals, man-child kings, and uppity people who all benefit from the exploitation of labour. On the bottom
That's too real now.
of power structures in their own lives. The teacher-student relationship or the parent-child relationship. They might be the youngest sibling, or they might be picked on at school. The book...
Someone left a comment saying that younger siblings are not like the bottom rung of the power structure in like a household. That's true. They can go attack mode as well. I'm sorry, I think that was my older sibling bias showing. I just meant that they're easier to catch.
in their comfortable
iconic
position of power,
sketch.
just like the people from the past who this book ridicules.
We want more money and better working conditions.
Is this some sort of peasant joke that I'm too rich to understand?
Oh,
It becomes
great
them
meme.
versus... It's more than that teachers don't want children to know about strange deaths and inadvisable cosmetics. It's that people in power don't want others to think about the elite's real role in the past. Horrible History subverts this with a consideration for the British Empire's negative effect on other countries.
I do think there's been quite a significant change in how schools teach history in recent years, like especially after 2020. That was quite a turning point. The curriculum was already sort of evolving over time, as everything does. But yeah, after that, there was definitely more of a focus on empire and colonialism. Although I had it in my school, but I feel like my school was kind of unusual because we also did like Ireland and we did apartheid in South Africa. I feel like that's maybe an anomaly. Other people seem to say that they didn't learn anything about empire. But there's definitely been a change in recent years. So I feel like what Terry Deary is responding to and what I'm talking about in the video is not quite the situation now, but it does explain where the books came from. So there's that.
Honestly, the man
Oh my gosh, they all look so young.
I aim to engage. Horrible History Histories may look like lightweight trivia, but I think the meanings behind the stories...
I feel like I should have said where everything comes from.
If you don't believe...
Like, I feel like I need something on the screen to tell you where the quotes are from. I think, like, my approach back then was to do timestamps onto my website. And so it was like you'd have to, like, cross-reference there. But no one would do that, would they?
I'll show you some of the hate mail I get from the extreme right-wingers who appreciate just how subversive the books really are.
Yeah, they get it.
They tell me my views that condemn the British Empire are wrong because the British mostly invaded lands that were empty. I would suggest they try telling that to the Tasmanians. Were it not for the fact the last native Tasmanian was wiped out within 60 years of the brave Brits arriving. But generally I don't even attempt to argue with such ignorant prejudice.
So I've also had quite a lot of people point out that what he says here is not quite true. And the fact there are still native Tasmanians today, and we need to acknowledge that. I guess I couldn't fact check everything he was saying, because it's like I've got the main theme of the video, and then I've got what all the different people are saying, and then I'm trying to put this together, and then there's also the many different histories that they're talking about, because it's so expansive, and it becomes a whole mess. It's not easy making these videos, guys.
This is probably the biggest area where Terry Deary
it's
differs from
Greg!
traditional historians. Historians sort of skate around the big subjects and let the history
What is this
speak
clip?
for readers might draw
Oh no, she falls. That video is an accurate representation of me living my daily life.
on the world is, and he
Oh,
has
look
no
at this king.
explaining it. Actually, let's take a midway
Oh.
to showcase some of Terry Deary's best quips.
Tea break?
I have absolutely no faith in politicians whatsoever, and I passionately oppose unearned privilege. I don't care what schools do. They're obliged to teach what a bunch of Eton boys in Whitehall tell them to. It's called the national curriculum.
I mean, he's not wrong.
The only politician ever to have entered Parliament with honourable intentions was Guy Fawkes. Oh my god. Oh, this man.
I love how I had the same reaction there. Some things don't change.
How to translate a history book with jokes onto the small screen.
Horrible Histories.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about this show.
They cracked it with the concept of a historical
Oh my
sketch show.
gosh.
The only problem that remained
Because there was like this precast to Horrible Histories, or like the CBBC show, which was like these time traveling kids, and it was a cartoon. And there was one girl at my school who swore by it. She liked it more than CBBC Horrible Histories, and everyone else was slightly confused by this. But you know what? If she loves it, she loves it. I respect that.
was how to make it clear for young viewers which bits were real and which bits were all part of a joke. They also needed a way to signpost viewers through the historical eras and a way to give little pieces of context without Terry Deary's written narration. The solution came in the form of Rattas Rattas.
Rattas
your
Rattas,
host and
iconic.
friendly neighbourhood sewer dweller who tells us all about the past and laughs at the historical misfortunes. Rattas
Brutal.
could be described as visual footnotes for 7-year-olds.
Yeah.
By placing him as a silly but educated friend, he allows the jokes to prevail, while checking the box of keeping the show historically accurate. He pops
My
in to tell us
gosh.
what is taken from historical records.
Can we just appreciate for a second how I went through every episode of Horrible Histories to find an exact clip that would match what I was saying? Like that, the dedication. This is what happened in the days before I had a proper job. Just mess around all day doing silly stuff like this. It was great. God, why did I stop? Oh, I needed money. Damn. That's what Terry was saying all along.
And he's a rat who eats out the bin and laughs along with you.
Tonally, some of the stuff
Greg!
in the series is quite sad. The challenge sometimes is to find the levity and the silliness when it's tonally appropriate.
Chief nerd, dream job. I only aspire to be as iconic as Greg Jenner.
The history they don't, or at least they don't have time to, teach you at school.
I was talking about like primary school back then. The primary school history canon was definitely like Celts, Anglo-Saxons, Vikings. No, he didn't even get to the Normans. Horrible Histories came and sort of put it into more of a world perspective. And also because it would switch between times and locations so much that it would sort of put everything more into context. You would realise what things were happening around the world at the same time, which I think is quite a crucial thing to learn, especially when you're quite young and everything is all new to you.
The TV series focuses more on the silly,
Oh my
unspicy
gosh.
humour,
What are they
rather than
doing?
the screw-all
Oh
honesty
no.
flavour. The BBC has made an active effort to emphasise the TV series' educational value as a side piece to the national curriculum.
Yeah, like there's a definite split between like the original series with the original cast and then the new version, which I guess they're trying to tie into the school curriculum a bit more and sort of try and make it a bit more of a useful teaching resource. But then at the same time, I know a lot of people hate the new series and love the originals, the original cast, and like only watch the originals. So I feel like maybe they shot themselves in the foot a bit. Yeah, maybe it's more educational, but not so many people are watching it. So they don't have the same like cultural power as it used to.
UK lockdown, it quickly
Oh
became
no,
evident
don't
that
mention it.
not all
I hate being reminded of things that happened in lockdown. It was such a weird time. No. Oh, it just makes me depressed. And then what was happening?
learning, and this could unfairly impact their education. So
Me in the library.
TV home learning schedule
Oh,
dumped on Horrible
stop.
Histories reruns to help their kids
Lockdown
prepare for
learning.
GCSE.
Oh.
Yes.
Horrible Histories won't really help you answer your 10 marker though. It's true. I think this is more like for younger kids though, so they weren't doing the GCSE questions yet.
Means that implicitly shun educational establishments was being used as a replacement for those very same educational establishments. The irony was definitely lost on whoever made that decision.
Okay, I think I was being cheeky there. There's definitely some irony, but then also we've got to remember that the Horrible Histories kids have grown up, and they apparently all decided to watch the video this year. I was thinking about how the texts were being and the show was being received by the kids watching at the time, but now we've got to remember that it's got another layer. It's adults remembering what they thought about it as children through the lens of their perspective now. So it sort of changes things.
Horrible Histories needs to maintain the perspective that it's a useful historical resource.
You can say what you want about the CBC and its decisions, but like how often do you get a show like that on TV for kids, like of like that high quality comedy that's also historic? It's like something for everybody. Honestly, we were blessed.
That's a bit close for home for those right-wingers that old Terry was talking about. Back on the UK's last official day in the EU, CBBC...
I mean, to be fair, why did they think this was a good idea?
Outrage at BBC for trashing Britain. Anti-British BBC...
Oh, Brexit Day. Oh, I can't believe they called it that.
Sparers Nish Kumar and the BBC's anti-Brexit sneering.
Dear.
This is anti-British drivel.
Oh, just calm down, everyone.
The controversy forced Horrible Histories to make a public statement.
Oh, dear.
And probably for the PR team to have a small midday weep.
They probably didn't have a weep. They probably just got on with it. Like, people complain about stuff all the time, and if you're working in sort of public-facing company, it's just going to be like a daily occurrence.
It leaves a lot of, oh, but what about this? And well, actually, it's open. CBBC didn't actually...
To be fair, most of their sketches are kind of like that.
Histories team before making the edit, probably because they too assume all the sketches have an inherent and equal educational value.
I don't know, I think like having worked in these kind of places, it's mostly just general lack of communication. And also like you got a deadline, you just got to do something, and then someone else is like, wait a second, what are you doing?
I mean, this is the same show that made a catchy song to help us remember all our fine rulers.
Oh yes. Okay, let's see if I remember it. It's been a while. William, Henry, Stephen, Henry, Richard, John. Henry, Ed, Rich, 2 and 3 more Henrys join our song. Okay, who's after Henry? Edward, Richard III. Henry, Ed again. Mary 1, Good Queen Bess, Jimmy, Charles and Charles again. Jim, Will, Mary. Will, Victoria. Wait, what? Did I do the Georges? I don't think I did the Georges. Oh my god, start again. William, Henry, Stephen, Henry, Richard, John. Henry, Ed, Rich, 2 and 3 more Henrys join our song. Edward, Richard III. Henry, Ed again. Mary 1, Good Queen Bess. Jimmy, Charles and Charles again. Jim, Will, Mary. Anna, Gloria. George, Will, Victoria. Edward, George 5th, Edward, George 6th, and Good Queen Bess to complete the mix. Oh, wow, that was harder than I thought it was going to be. It is genuinely useful song to remember the medieval kings, because they're all called Henry and they're all called Edward. They're not very creative back then, were they?
So you might not have noticed. Look,
I love this song. It was one of my favourites. I think it was my favourite. And it kind of inspired one of my academic interests, which was history of science. And then I did my undergrad dissertation about women scientists at the end of the 19th century and beginning of the 20th century. And it was great fun.
it inherits the book's anti-establishment themes and incorporates them to a larger or lesser extent, while it adds the latest historical thinking into the mix. The Horrible Histories franchise demonstrates.
One of my favourite comments was someone being like, "You say this like it's a bad thing," and I was like, "No, sir, I do not say it like it's a bad thing at all." I'm not quite sure where you came to that conclusion, that I'm saying it's a bad thing. I just think it's an interesting thing.
To viewers and readers how there is a link between how the past worked and how the present works, which could explain why we're in the state that we are. And that, my friends, is how Horrible History slips.
If only we knew.
And that, my friends, is how Horrible History slips a political edge into a children's fact book series and a historical sketch show.
Hope you enjoyed Horrible Histories.
Marvellous, splendid, wonderful. What was the question again?
That's me. That's me every day. That was a fun trip down memory lane for me. Maybe not so much for you. The majority of people who watch those videos watch them this year, which is crazy. I'd fully built up in my head that these were the most embarrassing videos to ever exist. So watching this has actually been quite helpful because I realised it's not actually that bad. The embarrassment has dissipated for now. But if we could all sort of collectively put this behind us and then move on to the next stuff, that would be great because oh my gosh, far too many people have seen it, haven't they? I still can't imagine how many people have seen these videos. It's insane. I remember the Horrible Histories video, it like picked up a little bit of traction and it got to 10,000 views and I was like, this is it. This is everything happening to me. This is this is the best I'll ever do on YouTube. And then yeah, this all happened. I just wanted to sort of put into context as well a few of the things that were going on when I was making it, because seriously, like making videos when you've got 500 subscribers is so different. And then it was literally just me and a couple of people I knew and my internet friends who would like watch it. We sort of support each other and that was it. And then now there's how many people are there now? 9,995. It's going to be on 10,000 in probably today. Maybe tomorrow, but probably today. Oh, that's insane. That's like proper YouTuber numbers. I don't know what I'm doing. I started making it, had a breakdown, bon appetit. That's basically my life at the minute. So that Horrible Histories video was very fun. So if you want to see more of those sort of more light-hearted videos, I'm open for suggestions because I think we need some more light-heartedness for now. It's just some stuff to cheer us up. I want to like go and research something fun and happy and still do some serious stuff sometimes, but not like all the time. So if you've got any recommendations of what I should cover, just let me know. I'm thinking some more medieval shenanigans and just other fun books. I'm looking at my bookshelf, I've got so many. Wow. Anyway, so just let me know what you need to cover and I'll see you soon.